All right. Hello, hello. How's everybody doing? Once again, I love it. I love um this is something that I'm really enjoying about YouTube is the fact that I can schedule the streams out and so people can be here like ahead of time. So of course, I mean Pinball Eddie's here. I saw Trash Can Panda, Pin Mike is here. I mean people are here like early. Which is hilarious. I think it's hilarious that people are getting here early and to see chat like just having their own, having a good time all by themselves is incredible. So if you happen to be watching this after the fact on YouTube, we do these every other Wednesday on here on the Flippin' Out channel from 10 p.m. to about midnight Eastern Standard Time. So please come join in on the live show, be a part of the chat. Yeah, it's just we're here to have a good time and chat it up, and yeah, it's just awesome to see everybody going nuts here. So anyone know if expression lighting is specific for machines or do they work? Yes, it is specific for machines because there's graphics on them. So yes, I mean you could put one into the other, but the art on them will be different. Cosner, how you doing? Les is here. Conti, everybody. Tom, Tom is here. Yes, it's awesome. T-Bone, Junior T-Bone, Pinland, Brooklyn Pin. Hey, everybody. Nick C, awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, we have some awesome people here tonight to chat it up. We got some really good stuff to talk about. We've got, there's just plenty. There's plenty going on right now in pinball. Almost too much. But obviously, we just saw the Foo Fighters LE reveal stream. So we're going to kind of go through our thoughts on that. We're going to go through shots layouts, what we're seeing in the code, what we're seeing in the layout, and please chat. I mean, share whatever you think. We're going to be reacting to that and we're going to be chatting that up a good bit. If we happen to like go the whole time talking about Foo Fighters, awesome. If not, there was another stream that happened last week, and that was a reveal stream, and it was Bond's 60th happened. Keith Owen streamed that with Jack Danger, so we could talk about that stream, what our overall impressions from that were, and then we've got a lot of reveals that have, I mean, it is clear that yes, it is officially out there that Jersey Jack is making Godfather. It is officially out there that American Pinball is making GTF. So, I mean, we've got so much. We've got so much to talk about. So buckle up. Let's have a good time. And let's just talk about pinball. So one thing I would like to do just before I forget. So you're going to see everybody's faces here. But yes, there are our three beautiful people. But we're going to go through those. Is this. I wanted to show this because I am super grateful for Zach and Nicole at Flippin' Out. I am super grateful for them for letting me borrow games and stream on their channel. They will be at, Louisville Arcade Expo, which is a week or two before. I should have known this, but it's a week before TPF. And so they always go big. So the Louisville show, exactly. They always go big. So if you happen to be interested in any of these four games, so the two Bond games, Pro and Premium, an Elvira, and a Godzilla, please reach out to Zach because he's going to have show special games. So he will have games there to play. So definitely reach out to Zach. Call him, text him, email him, whatever. If you're interested in a show special for the Louisville Expo, do it. But yeah, now that we did that, all right, guys. Let's do it. Let's chat it up. Thank you to these three gentlemen who are here tonight. We're going to work our way around, and you know what? Just to just screw everything up, we're going to do kind of an X shape. So we're going straight to Mike. Mike, I don't think ever goes first. But we're going to go straight to Mike. Mike, how are you?
Whenever I'm in the top box, you start on the bottom. Whenever I'm in the bottom, you start on the top.
Yeah. Yes. Well,
sorry, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so same thing. Who are you? What do you do? And then what was the last game of pinball you played?
Well, I'm Mike, and I stream on the Pinballers Twitch and I guess Facebook channels. You can check us out at random times now, especially with Pin Clash going on. The last game I played, surprisingly enough, was not Godzilla. It was actually Led Zeppelin.
Nice.
Yes, actually, I just got that back on our play trade, and it's actually, aside from the Godzilla, because of Pin Clash, it's the game I'm playing most out of all the games in my collection. I love the game. I don't know why people hate on it or whatnot, but I mean, it's grindy, and yes, there's not a lot in it, but I just love playing it. I don't know what it is. Something about the shots feel really good
They do.
in the game, and I like grinding through the songs and trying to make progress through the game. It is a long playing game, I find, but I'm having fun with it, and also having fun with the pin clash
Oh yeah.
that has been going on. I know Hadi's also submitting scores as well. So Carter and I are sort of competing with each other on Pin Clash. We've only done a couple of streams on it so far, and we each have a score. I think I'm around 400 and something, and Carter has like 555. So I gotta get back into it and beat his score so I can knock him down and out of the bracket.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in trouble
So
here. I want to do it. I know I'm gonna. I just want to be able to submit something, which
yeah,
means I just need to complete it. I just need to complete it. So if we look here, Pin Clash. Let's see where you are.
you go to
Qualifiers. Wow, look at them
challenges.
go.
I don't know if they updated our. I don't think they updated our. No, they did not.
Tom,
So
why is
Carter,
yours crossed out?
that's because Neil's up there.
Oh, one
So
per
only
household.
one per stream. So the lower one will
Oh,
get knocked out. So that score I have there, 339. I actually improved
Mike,
that,
got it.
but I didn't bother submitting it because Carter also put up
There he
about
is,
he put
Hottie.
up about 555. So Carter will probably be around 12th or 13th right now.
Nice.
I'm thinking it's going to take, I don't know, when it's all said and done, 600 million just to qualify even in the bottom.
What? So that's what Tom just said. What do you think the dead last top 24 score will
Yeah,
be?
I think it's going to be around 600 or so.
Dang.
I think
Which is,
I think
yeah.
more than half are going to be in the billions. I think. I mean, you're already looking at 7 or 8 of them. There's a few scores. So you submit your score on the Discord for the Pin Clash,
2 billion.
and yeah, you submit your score on the
Jeez.
Pin Clash Discord, and I know there's some scores that haven't been submitted yet, like even Carter's we submitted. I think
Yeah.
Hadi even improved his score too. And it's just, I think Carl updates it every couple days or something like that.
So
So
Brian, why the rule of 2 people? Because if you think about it, if let's say Mike and Carter qualified 1 and 2, well, the problem there is I just realized. Sorry, Mike. I had a 3-person screen going, so Mike was off there the whole time. The reason for that would be if they both qualify and then they get to the actual head-to-head part of the competition. How are they going to go head-to-head when they
yeah,
have one game? So
exactly.
it's only one per household is the way that that's going to work.
And it makes sense that way too, and it's fun. I'm sure Tom and Neil are having fun, sort of, friendly, competing against each other to
Nah,
try and
Tom
get the
hates his
top
kid.
score. I don't care. I'm happy to see Carter kick my ass. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
I encourage him to play and do well. So if he beats me, I will be just as happy, if not happier, if I was in the same position. So
Brian, that's a great question there. Tom is rich. Doesn't he have 2 Godzillas? Just no, no. Tom is smart with his money. But he's all in on Foo Fighters. I'll tell you
well,
that.
I mean, he could create another channel if he had 2 Godzillas and do
Yeah.
Fox Cities Pinball
Yep.
and then maybe like Fox Cities Ping Pong or something like that, and
Well,
then compete.
he could theoretically have somebody at District 82, right? So he could
Yeah.
send. Yeah, but okay. Well, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. Who do we go to? Let's go to Hadi. Why not? Hadi.
What's up? I'm Hadi, Frisco Pinball. You can catch me on Twitch. Recently, almost every night, trying Pin Clash and learning about Godzilla again. It's been a while since I played it, so Pin Clash has been awesome. Shout out to Carl, IE Pinball.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah, usually late at night, trying to submit a score, and that's about it. I think last score I had is like 444. So I agree with Mike. I think you're going to need to be near 600 million to qualify, but it's a lot of fun. And I encourage everybody to watch all the Pin Clash competitors, try different strategies, although everybody's sort of going bridge now, so bridge multi-ball,
Yeah.
because that's the big scorer. But yeah, that's it for me.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
So before we go on, so Mike, you have bought or have placed an order for Foo Fighters. That is a done deal.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Hottie, are you buying one? Are you in?
I was this close to pulling the trigger on an Ellie, and I was like, "Oh, I'll wait till the stream." And then the stream sold me even more, and I cannot because the rumors of Venom are too strong for me. I have to wait to see what that's like because I was talking with my wife, and it's the space is going to be. I have to be smart with my space. I want to make sure that whatever L1's next cornerstone is, I have a chance at putting that here and Venom. So I've got room for about 3 or 4, and I've really got to
3 or
be
4 more. Yes.
yeah, and
Yeah.
so
I
I've got
choose.
yeah, I've got time to be selective. And what I've learned from Bond and now looking at the secondary market and some other pins is there will always be a chance to pick one up, whether it's new in box or somebody, has low play. So I will wait. But that stream, like I was ready to call somebody like Zach, be like,
I know.
Can I get on the list?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we're gonna dive into that stream, but yeah. So okay, good to know. So Craig, are you in the mood? Are you in the mood to buy?
I'm ready to go.
Craig, yes, introduce yourself. But seriously, are you actually on the Foo Fighters train here?
Well, I'm getting close. If I wasn't on it before, I am chasing it down the tracks now as it's rolling away. So yeah, I mean, we'll talk about my impressions of it and how I feel about the game and how I don't want to purchase this game, but I'm being ever drawn towards its light. But my name is Craig Bobby. I do the Top Stories news segment for the now award-winning Pinball Show podcast with Zach Meny and Dennis Kriesel, which airs, of course, on the Pinball Network most Mondays. And yes, the last game I played, like you all, was Godzilla. I've been having fun watching the Pin Clash and learning more about that game. I think my personal high score, not single ball high score, but my personal high score is about 328 million for that bonus that they're working towards, the Carnage bonus. And so, but like you guys said, that's not going to hold. And I'm certainly not doing it on a single ball either, which is the other tricky part of that equation, of course. But, it's the gift that keeps on giving this game. And I'm anxiously awaiting my Tumbler pinball mods that we've been talking about most weeks, which are in the mail somewhere between London and the UK and Toronto.
There it is.
Lose it,
there it is, Hadi.
Come on.
Hadi's got his right there. Mine's
there
upstairs.
It is.
Yeah.
This I'll say this. I think over the next few years, Stumbler will with these mods, because he's going to go around the whole damn playfield ultimately. I think, and he's going to replace every single building in that back playfield. The game at the end of it all is going to look so ridiculously amazing. It's going to probably cost you $1,000 to $2,000 at the end of the day extra to buy all these mods. But I just think at the end of it all, it's going to look so over the top and crazy good that the lights alone that he's putting in these mods really just amps. It makes any other mod look so plain and flat, I think, even if they're 3-dimensional. He's really kind of in my mind cracked the code on how to make an amazing mod. Like, you almost have to have a light kit in these mods now, in my opinion, to really make them stand out. And he's just got a great system and great thing going.
Well,
anyway.
Yes, you are correct, and I went ahead and pulled him up here because Stumbler. Well, like Leonor mods or something. Leor mods.
Yeah, Leor.
He makes some amazing mods, and he was the first guy to go all in on what is it, like resin casted thing.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of a 3D printed mod where you see filament lines and everything like that, these are casted prints, or not prints, but casted molds, and then really well painted. So it's like you have your 3D printed mods, and then you have those. Well, what Stumbler's done is he's gone one step further, and he's built in some crazy lights, and it's not just a light like a blinky bulb. It is lights that like have animations and interact with your games. So I mean, this
They're
Tokyo,
programmable.
yes,
Like,
the neon sign mod is awesome. I have it in that, and it created so much goodwill that I was like, I'll buy anything this guy makes. Like that sign is so good, and so I'm pumped. I know
yeah,
so many people have made this UFO mod, but nobody's gone to this extent where it actually
yeah.
has 3D graphics. So it has like, idle animations and then animations every time it gets hit and animations with different stuff.
It's
I'm stoked. I will tell you, it's an intricate kit. I know Hadi has his sitting right there. You look at the instructions on it, and it's going to take quite a while, like easily
Yeah.
an hour plus to install
yeah.
the 4
I'm
parts to this
frightened by
mod.
it.
I can't wait. I just need to find time to do it. And
I
then
know.
this is the most recent one that he's announced. So that back right building, once again, a resin casted mod with light show. And then this building, the neon lights reflect similar to the neon lights
Look
in
at
the
the
front.
detail on it. Look at the
It's
detail on
it's
that.
pretty incredible. And the guy, they're relatively like cost effective.
Yeah.
Like so many
Yeah.
of these mods out there are thousands of dollars or like $1,000. And this
And
guy,
you're like, really?
yeah,
Yeah.
this whole thing was close to 300, but
Yeah.
still,
And like Leor, he's a great modder as well.
mhm,
But I went to look at a couple of his mods, like that Mechagodzilla mod where he improves the armor on the Mechagodzilla turret
yeah,
that spins, and I was like, $300 for like a few pieces of plastic.
yeah.
I couldn't justify it at the end of the day. I was really close to getting it, and I was like, whoa, 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 what am I doing? Like,
I get it.
no,
I
no,
get it.
right? And so I really think, like you say, Joel, he's kind of hit the sweet spot on function versus price, and I think there's a ton of value on that. Yes, there's some complication with the harness hookup and all that stuff, but I think he's also built in a way to add like a bunch of different he's got adapters that you can buy in there so that when you're adding on additional ones, you can just plug them into the same adapter. Like he's really thought ahead about
He
this,
has. Yeah.
and I just think it's such again, he's thought this out so well, and it's such a great design. If I was one of the manufacturers, I'm like, get this guy in house, like
Yeah.
right now.
Well,
Like he could be the
yeah,
start of a mod division, right?
Yeah.
Like if I'm Stern, I'm like, and I know this has been bantered around before. They got bigger fish to fry, I'm sure. But there's such a market here for one of these manufacturers to pick up and run with. Because people buy and love modding these things as much as like, just look at Dodge and all the car companies. They have divisions that
Yeah.
allow you to buy accessories for their stuff. It's like a no-brainer. The margins are crackers,
Well,
I'm sure.
it's very clear that Davies, that's his name. He does like web design and coding or whatever. Like that's his job. So it's like all the web interface and integrating with the board set. But then he's also designing the entire boards that are running in it. I mean,
Yeah.
the guy's a whiz. And then the sculpting part, he's partnered up with another guy to do that. I mean, they got quite a team. But I joked around. I was like, have you quit your day job yet? Like, that's what I'm
Yeah.
like. I mean, it's very clear that he keeps putting out mods, and it's insane. And I know, I mean, Squalito here is asking, but is Godzilla a keeper? That's a valid question, but I'll tell you, like
What?
those
No, that is not a good question.
I think, to me, I think it's a keeper. But what I like about it though is I know Hadi has them too. Like those speaker light panels, like that is a selling point. Like those are hard to get.
Yeah.
And then these mods, like if you put these mods in your game, these are one of those mods, in my opinion, that you're going to be able to get your money back out.
Yes.
So when did mods have been around?
Especially
a
if
long
he
time,
stops
more or less.
making them too.
Well, yeah, that's what fast forward. If they make Godzilla for another 3 years, there will be brand new Godzilla buyers that are gonna hop onto Pinside and be like, "Where are all these?" And it's like, "Oh, those sold out a year ago." Yeah. So, Thomas, my wife is gonna bury me in my Godzilla, as she should, right? She should. So I don't know. I'm all in. It's awesome. It's awesome. Mervin, what are we doing? Hey, Craig, I pre-ordered GTF today based on yours and Travis' impressions. Thanks for the insight. Mervin, yes, I have seen pictures as well. And what you said, Craig.
Don't hate me if it sucks.
No, what you said, Craig, the words that you said, which are Raza 2.0, I think is actually a very fair descriptor. It looks insane. That's all. Like if
Yeah,
it
I
looks
think
insane.
it's like it captures that retro vibe that Raza was going with. It captures that space alien zombie. I know Raza's
I
kind
didn't see
of
any
was trying to
zombies,
encapsulate.
but
No, there were no
yeah, but
zombies,
yes,
but the space vibe is kind of what I meant by that. And I think it's from what I've seen, the layout looks better, and the art package is better. It's just better all
see, I
over,
have not
right?
seen layout. All I've seen is backglass and like cabinet, and just that alone, like they went nuts. They went nuts with the theme.
Yeah.
They went nuts with the stylizing. I mean, yes, it's Dennis Nordman is going to make a fun shooting game. Franchi's art is fantastic. Like it looks very, very good. And then Steve Bound, like I bet it'll be a fun game. I bet it'll be a fun game. But look at how spoiled we are right now, guys. Like look at what's coming down the pipeline. Scooby Doo is out and looks to be very unique
Amazing.
and fun. Bond's 60th is going to be here. Like people are going to have a chance to play that soon. Foo Fighters, we're about to talk about freaking Foo Fighters, which looks awesome. Godfather's coming around the corner. GTF, like what? Like this is nuts. What's going on right now? So, well, anyways, Craig, thank you for being here. My name is Joel. This is the Flipping Out stream. Thanks for being here, everybody, tonight. And yeah, let's dive on in here. So, Foo Fighters. When are they releasing photos to the public for GTF? I don't know that. I don't know that answer.
Prior to TPF for sure.
Yes. Zach is going to have a booth, Bond 60th at Louisville. Yes, hopefully. I know they haven't shipped. Apparently, they build a bunch and they ship them all overseas. But I don't know if any have been built yet for here in the U.S. So hopefully they'll be built in time. But apparently, Foo Fighters are on the line right now. So initial impressions before I can't wait to talk about shots, but just visual impressions right there. There's your lineup. Chat. Which one's the best looking? Craig, what's your thoughts?
So I'm going to actually say something a little shocking. And normally I am, all about the LE, but on this art package, I am liking the premium colors better than I just find that LE package looks a little bit too TMNT for my liking.
Okay.
I understand why they went with that green for because of the alien vibe and the space goo and all the stuff. But I do think I'm liking the red and orange palette a little better on and even the blue on the Pro.
Yeah.
So I would choose the premium or the Pro over the LE, believe it or not, in this case. Obviously I love the round speakers on the LE, the improved sound package and the expression lighting kit, but I don't like that neon green in this case. And I generally do like bright, vibrant colors like that, but not in this
Sure.
case for whatever reason. I also think the art is just on the premium and the Pro, on the premium and the LE, they're exactly the same. But for whatever reason, the premium just the background colors and stuff, I think help pull forward that van a little better versus the green. That's just my
Interesting.
opinion.
So chat here, premium for me, that's Nick. Premium with red powder coating, Brian. Premium Mervin. Okay. Hadi, what are you well, Hadi's saying the LE. Why do I even ask?
Yeah, I like the green. There were some cool mock-ups on Pinside, and someone did like a cherry red version and also like a dark orange one, and I fell in love with those colors. I was like, this is what it should have been as far as the powder
On
coating.
the LE?
No, on almost all of them. They changed the legs and the side rails and the back box for a bunch of models, but I think I'm going with the green. I like the way that it matches the Attack from Mars sort of vibe. I think it looks good. It is very TMNT-ish, and there's a lot of chatter about not the artwork being bad, but it's sort of becoming very similar now to some of the other pins that we've had as far as AIQ, TMNT. Obviously, it's the same artist.
It's zombie.
Yeah, I think it looks good. I think I'd go with the LE here. I really dig the way they did it. I like the FF on the side near the flipper buttons, and yeah, that's what I'd go with here.
Good call. I saw that same chatter, and there's a guy in our um what is Chris saying? This is the worst zombie Yeti package yet. See, that's funny. Like I've heard other
Yeah,
people
I
that
don't.
say this is like his top best art package ever. Like art is so subjective, but to
Mhm.
me, um, I see it like it was an interesting thing to read that because people basically were saying, is pinball art just becoming very similar nowadays? And there was 4 pictures. It was a picture of this, it was a picture of Rush, it was a picture of Avengers, and it was a picture of I don't even remember, but it
Iron
was
Maiden,
maybe Iron Maiden,
maybe.
yeah. And it's
Yeah.
just very, and I get it. Zombie Yeti did most of them, but it's a lot of color. It's a lot of bright colors.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
what doesn't look like that? Like Bond doesn't look like that. Led Zeppelin doesn't look like that.
Mhm.
Toy Story doesn't look like that. But it's like, well, what do you want? You want hand drawn art, or do you want Photoshop or like photorealistic art? I I don't know. I didn't see that, but I will say, looking at these initial. Well, here, Mike, what are your thoughts on these 3 packages? Which one stands out to you? Or
I kind of agree a little bit with Hadi and Craig in some respects. Now, I will say that I'm not a big fan of the Ellie. I think the Ellie is probably my least favorite. But the caveat that being is if that powder coat was like the same color of that van, I think it might pop a little more. It might
yeah,
make things
Mhm.
pop a little more.
Mhm.
For me, I'm torn between the premium and the pro. I think I want to lean more
interesting.
towards I think I want to lean more towards the pro. When I look at the pro, I get Guardians of the Galaxy vibes from the
Oh,
cabinet
yeah,
art and a bit of Godzilla. Like it looks like almost like a cross between what you'd see with Godzilla and the Guardians cabinet as well. Um, I like the back glass on the premium. I think the back glass on the premium is probably the best back glass of the 3 of them.
see, that's
Oh
another thing
yeah,
I've heard people argue.
you can see that. Yeah, I mean, if we didn't know who the artist was on this and we just brought up a picture of the game, we'd probably be able to tell within 3 seconds that that's a Zombie
Oh
Eddie art
yeah,
package
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
There's no doubt.
So, I mean, you can complain and say, well, it's all the same or whatever, but I mean, he does amazing art. So, I mean, more of the same or more of the similar style is not necessarily a bad thing.
no,
I personally think that the playfield art, specifically the playfield art, to me is one of the best he's done. I think Ghostbusters is up there, definitely.
hmm
That's a really, really good art package. I think Foo Fighters is right up there with the Ghostbusters. I think it's better than Godzilla. I think it's better than Avengers. I think it's better than I think he did Deadpool as well, right? I think
oh
it's
yeah,
better than Deadpool and Iron Maiden. So I think it's probably his best or second best, at least playfield art package.
mm,
I need to see it more in person to really
Mhm.
really dive in and get a really good look at it. Same with the cabinet, but from my first impressions looking at it, I really like the art on the pro, at least the cabinet
sure.
art.
Yeah, I would definitely say. I mean, it's great art. There's nobody's going to argue nobody's going to say this looks bad. Like this is great art. I mean, maybe somebody will. I think this is great art. But what is interesting is I saw it and it did look very familiar to Godzilla in my mind, like my
Yeah.
initial impression. And I have a Godzilla Premium sitting down right here, and my Godzilla Premium, when I look at the side of it, like it's a lot of reds and yellows. Like that's I know Hotties doesn't look like that. He's got blues in there and silver, but the rest of us with our premiums and even Mike's Pro, I see a lot of reds and golds. So when I saw the premium here, I saw a lot of reds and golds, and I was just like, oh man, like if I was gonna get one right up, like I'd want one to stand out a little more unique. So that's why I was actually more drawn towards the green, thinking like, oh bummer, I wish the green would have been premium because then it looks different. But now that you've pointed out, if instead of the green rails, if that would have been the red or this kind of I don't know, purplish red that's in this van, yeah, that would really pop. That would have really
Yeah.
popped for sure. So there's some cool stuff you can do there. I'm curious. I think if you change the rails here on the premium, or even change the T molding, you could potentially really make this thing, like if you put blue or something, you could really make this thing pop differently. But hey, that's what's cool. That's what's cool about modding and doing powder coating and whatnot. But I do think the art on the outside is a lot. I think it looks really good. But let's talk about playfield art, because I'm very curious. Here's the thing, right? So here are my thoughts. What are we saying here in chat? I'm sorry. On the upper playfield, FF is the same yellow and blue line as the... Yes. So also about turtles, one thing I noticed during the stream is they're using the same font. They're using the same font. And I was surprised by that.
Like on the upper, the main part, it's definitely the exact same font.
Yeah,
I noticed
the scores,
that too.
everything, it's the same. I was like, oh man. I got a question for you. Will you trade today your Godzilla Premium for Foo Fighters Premium if you could? No, I would not.
No,
I would not.
No. I've got other games I can trade, so that's
fine. So what stood out to me, one of the first things I noticed on this playfield was, surprisingly, these ramps have decals on them. And I thought that was cool. I did think that was cool. But one thing that I saw tonight, and maybe I'm weird, is when you have decals on the ramps, that it almost makes the ramps, at least from a streaming perspective, blend in with the art.
Yeah.
Like it was something that I saw on stream, that for the first time, there are so many items on this playfield, so many different little bits of art. He squeezed so much stuff into this playfield that, like, just trying to understand, just at a quick glance, you're looking at the middle of the playfield here, like that's a lot. That's a lot going on visually right there. Like, in trying to discern. And I'm not trying to be critical. I know this is sounding critical, but this is the first time that I'm surprised watching it on stream, that, like, trying to discern, okay, there's actually two targets here, and there's a ramp under that. Like, this is a ramp. It's not, but because there's that decal on there, there's that, like, there's just a lot. There's a lot going on here. And I know some people said similar stuff when Deadpool came out. So, it probably will feel totally different when you're standing in front of the game. But it is very clear that Zombie Yeti put a lot into this art package. And
I also think I think that, like, when you're looking at the playfield right now, you're seeing it does look busy. It's almost like a Where's Waldo kind of deal with the inserts and the shots and everything. But also, you're not familiar with the game too, right? So I mean, like, once you have the game, if you look at it, you play it, you know the shots, you know what's going on, then you go back and you look at it on a stream, you can understand it a little better. But I agree with the first impression, it being very busy. But I like that kind of art. It's
Here,
there's a lot to take in, and I think over time it keeps it interesting, right? Because there is so many different aspects that initially it's like, oh, I'm a little overwhelmed, but then over time you appreciate it a little bit more.
I'll give you that.
Remember, we're coming from Godzilla, where the inserts are very well spaced out.
Yeah,
you've got the playfield is sort of open; it's not all jumbled in. And I will say, I have a decal on my Godzilla ramp, and I think one of the biggest things that I like about it is that it goes all the way up to where your line of sight can't see the rest of the metal, so it looks very fluid and kind of blended in well with the pin. I'm a little surprised they went with
that it stops halfway.
That only go halfway up.
Yep.
I don't like that, but at the end of the day, there's a lot here.
Somebody will.
Scooby-Doo.
Somebody will make a mod that's like the second half of this decal. Somebody will do something like that. But I totally get what you're saying. But what surprised me was just looking, like, don't get me wrong, I'm all in on expression lighting. I think expression lighting is incredible. So the fact that the Pro, you can't get expression lighting, I mean, Mike, you're a Pro buyer.
No, I think that was a huge mistake. Now, I get why they did it. They did it because they want more people to buy the premium. But expression lighting is not going to make someone go from a Pro to a premium. The toys, the other stuff, the shots, the extra play field and everything, that's going to draw people to it. So they're actually, like, cutting their own like sales off by not getting not allowing it to be in the Pro. I think
it's
that
interesting.
They would sell much more of those expression light kits if they were to allow it in the Pro. So that is one thing that I'm really really frustrated with, because I'm
Yeah.
getting it for my Rush.
Yeah.
You can put it in the Rush Pro.
Yeah.
So I mean, I would love to see the three together, but I mean, like I said before the stream, I may upgrade at some point, but yeah.
Sure. Nick, expression lighting only comes, yes. So it's only the same thing as Rush. Right now, expression lighting was, so there's only 3 pins that have expression lighting capabilities right now: Led Zeppelin, Rush, and now Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin expression lighting came stock in both the premium and the LE. It was stock. You could buy it as an add-on for the Pro. Then Rush, it was stock in the LE, but you had to buy it for the premium and Pro. Problem is, they haven't sold it yet. There's a lot of people wanting it, but they haven't sold it yet. They're saying it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. That's all we've been hearing. And then now, this is the first time where it's stock in the LE. It's available for the premium, but it's not an option for the Pro. And that is very surprising. Wind Raider here. I disagree respectfully, of course. Expression lighting is a reason, at least for me, how I consider LE not just to not wait for the feature like Rush owners. I am with you. The more that I am getting into pinball, the more I am into the choreography that lighting can create. And I want it. Like, I want it in every game. That's why, like, I'm loving Cactus Canyon, because they've added, like, I have no interest in owning an original Cactus Canyon. None. Because of the lighting and other additional features that they've added here. Like, it's not code. It's not layout. That's the same. It is the lighting and that big old display. That's the reason why I would go with that. So I think that's a big, interesting thing. But visually, if you're looking down at this playfield, there is so much going on. And then click over here to the Pro. I was surprised, but like having black around the edge and having black in the art blades almost seems somewhat of like a visual relief, you know?
It calms it down.
It does. It looks more calm. Compare that to this. It's like, okay, I can focus. I can focus a little more. And I am all in on art blades. All in on art blades on all my games. So I bet it'll feel different in person. But I was surprised just pulling up those pictures. Like, whoof, it was kind of a visual. I was able to breathe a little bit. So I don't know. So let's talk about these. No, I closed it. Here we go. Open with paint. We're drawing, guys. We're drawing. It looks like I saw straight down the middle. So it looks like Zach is here. Likely pricier to route those cabinets too. I mean, I get it. I know why they're doing it, because I absolutely think this is a reason to upsell. Because surprisingly, what other reasons are there to upsell between the Pro and the Premium? You have an upper playfield, and there's a lot of people that have strong opinions on an upper playfield. Some of them are like, I don't want them. They slow the game down. I've got to give them props though, because the way this shot works, it goes up, and that's a terrible color. Let's go with, I don't know. What's a good color that stands out on this playfield?
Bright red.
You know?
Bright
red. Okay. It goes up. Here we go. It goes around. Well, if you do nothing, if you do not flip that, it goes right by that flipper and goes straight past it. And that is the exact same shape that the Pro does. Exact same shape. So I think that's impressive that they're giving you an upper playfield, but if your view of an upper playfield is it slows the game down, I don't think that's going to be the case in this particular game, which is brilliant. I think that's awesome. But there's still people that are like, I don't like upper playfields. You get the mechs. Some people don't care about the mechs. These mechs though do look pretty awesome, pretty cool. You compare that to the Pro. These I mean, that stand up. I don't know. I mean, I know, Mike, you care a lot more about shots and layout than you do.
I'm more about the gameplay, but I mean, I'm sure somebody's gonna make like a 3D van or an alien guy or whatever that goes on the Pro too. So
for sure.
Yeah.
Would you rather have
Overlord?
Oh, sorry.
Overlord sculpt is so nice on the premium.
It looks really good.
Cool. Just looks.
They finally made for the first time in a long time. I feel like they've made a clearly defined quote unquote toy that people have been crying out for since, I don't know, what was the last bash toy like this that they did? Was it like Zeppelin didn't really have one? Avengers didn't have one. Godzilla kind of has one in Mechagodzilla, but not quite.
Groot, maybe like Groot's
Groot.
face.
Groot was very
Yeah.
well done. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's just such a visual point to the it just draws your eye right in there, and it makes you want to hit that thing, right? And
Yeah.
get it into that alien's clutches.
Black Knight. Black
So
Knight's a good example. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So I just feel like they've finally given us a something that is very toy-like. And also, just to get back to your point about the upper playfield, Joel, I feel like this is actually the first upper playfield that I would want to be up there, and interested in
So let's
keeping that ball up there.
let's talk
Because
about
so
that
many of the
then.
upper playfields, like Mandalorian is another example, where initially you're like, oh, this is going to be great, but it's kind of useless
It's
when you
just
get in
bah, bah,
there,
bah, 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 bah,
right?
bah. Yeah.
It's all about
like
how
six
they
targets. Yeah.
Yeah. It's all
This
about how
looks
they're
actually
integrated
fun.
into the gameplay too, though, right? Like, I mean, if it's
Well-
implemented well, if the use of it is
Yep.
done well, then
But it looks
enhances it.
There's a target.
Yeah, it's just the shot itself though looks very good. Like to be able to whip that thing around and keep going around and around and around. Like I
Does
just
this
think it's so much more
upper-
interesting than trying to hit some drop targets out there and the ball kind of comes down, you hit it up, it comes down, you hit it up. Like
Well-
anyway, it's kind of like I think that gets boring after a while. But this actually reminds me almost like of a tiny, Godzilla around the horn shot, whatever they call that.
Oh, maybe. Well, just
the-
wait
the
until
loop. Yeah, yeah.
Stumbler.
Loop, yeah.
Wait until Stumbler replaces this building.
Exactly.
No, Hadi, you had a question, or you?
Yeah, does this upper play? I wonder. I started noticing, and I actually really like when they offer a separate mode specific to one extra part of the pin. So Godzilla has super trains. Black Knight
Yeah.
has the catapult multi-ball.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if this upper playfield will have something extra
Maybe
for the premium and LE owners, because that's another added bonus. Like having super trains mode is
Yeah.
another way, just for example, for Pin Clash, the way to get allies and to extend your game. And obviously Black Knight catapult multi-ball helps to add another feature. So it'd be pretty cool to have something sort of exclusive to that upper playfield
Look
as
at
well.
that tiny flipper.
That's a good
I mean,
point.
it's so awesome.
This thing, though, so just to clarify, this thing you can loop around and around and around, but then there's
Yeah.
also there's a target here, there's a
Yes.
target here, there's a target here, there's a spinner here, and then there's a diverter. This is a big diverter right here
Look at
that goes
Yeah.
up. So after you shoot this enough, that goes up and it allows you to go straight back and boom, hit. There's a target right there in the back. And
Wow.
that's kind of a shot for a super something. So I'm very curious because on stream tonight, both Ray Day and Tanya they said, nope, if you're not, all the code that's in the premium and LE is also in the pro. The only difference is to start multi-ball up here, I don't know. You have to hit something up here enough and boom, you start multi-ball.
Mhm.
But on a pro, you just hit this ramp 5 times, I think they said. So I'm
Yeah.
curious, like it seems like there's some sort of this, when that diverter goes up, there's some sort of jackpot shot that's right there. So,
I think it's a super jackpot. I think it was written somewhere, or it was in
So how do you
one
do-
of the videos or something.
but how do you do it on the pro? That's the question. Like, how do you do a super jackpot on the pro?
It might just be one of the other shots in
I
the
don't
game
know.
or something. Yeah.
So let's go through real quick because I'll pull up the pro and we'll somebody pointed out a really good thing because there's actually this captive ball that kind of spins around in a circle down here. And they said it's a shame that here on the premium, you can't really even see that because that's under the playfield, which is surprising. I hadn't even thought about that. There's a whole nother ramp
Mhm.
under here that you're not even seeing.
Well, there's also that loop too, right? And
Yes. So let's talk about
yeah.
loops. Okay, so let's do some This is where I am impressed. Jack Danger, congrats to you for making okay. It's just kind of a crazy thing. So let's just go left to right, right? So boom, 2 stand-up targets. I think these stand-up targets deal with lighting your outlines. I think. I don't know. 2 stand-up targets, nothing special. It's going to be rule-based. But normally you have a left orbit, right? Not on this game. What you have is you have a mini jump ramp. So it goes like this. The ball jumps across the playfield. So this is kind of like the opposite of the katana shot, right? So
Yeah.
it's going this way. It's going across the playfield. Then it goes up this to a small horseshoe and then feeds that upper right flipper. So that is the shot on the far left of your game, which is kind of crazy. So it's no ramp, but it feeds your upper flipper. Now, if we want to go further with that, right? That upper flipper shot, if you then flip the ball, it can go up here under this playfield and it can loop all the way around and it can keep doing that. So you can just loop this as many times as you want. Then why not? You flip a little earlier and you're going to hit this ramp. This ramp spins around. It's up on a wire form. It comes up, it comes down, all the way around and feeds, boom, feeds your right flipper. Like that. Look at what I just drew.
The flow, like just like look at the flow there.
What?
And there's, and there's another way
And
to
you can
get
just repeat it again, right?
But that's not the only way to do it. That's not
Yeah,
the only
there's-
way to do that type of shot, right?
there's another way to get up on the upper ramp that they clip. The freaking kicker.
Yeah, so you can't. This is the thing. I think this shot, this little quick turnaround, I don't think you can hit that.
No.
Maybe straight, but probably not. I don't think you're going to be able to hit that shot. To hit that shot, you're going to have to go through this ramp. So Mervin had asked, why is it a jump shot? And all I can think of is they don't want this flipper to like hit this clunk and then come down. Like, and I'm not going to lie, a jump shot's cool. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, a jump shot's cool. So that's the left. This ramp right here, I don't know. I'd have to overlay, and probably somebody's already done this. I'm curious how different this ramp is than the left ramp on Deadpool. You know, it's
just the
pretty
wire
much
form,
the same
I think.
thing.
Yeah. I think
Or
just
on
the
Led
shape of the
Zeppelin,
wire
it kinda
form.
reminded me of the Led Zeppelin.
Well,
ramps
never
too, a
mind.
little bit.
I just turned around. Deadpool, it goes up this left ramp. It actually curls this way and then swoops around like that. That's how Deadpool.
There you go.
Yeah.
But what about Led
That's how
Zeppelin? Joel? That's
Deadpool-
what it reminded me of. That
Maybe.
thing. Am I
You
wrong?
mean the center ramp
Yeah,
on Led Zeppelin?
yeah.
With a
Just
center ramp
whoop,
kind of, and then
then-
it does like a little snake after.
Okay.
But it's all underneath the
Yeah.
Zeppelin, so you can't even see it
Now,
anyway. So.
what I like about this, though, is I saw multiple people tonight on stream backhand it. They backhanded it, no problem. And this is where you start your mode. So what I do like about that is it's not a saucer. It's not a scoop. So you're not going to accidentally start your mode. That's the
Which
thing that I
there-
like
yeah.
about is
No scoops at all.
Yeah, there's no scoops and there's
Scoopless.
no pops. No
Scoopless.
scoops, no saucers, no pops. No, yes. So this is your shot. Boom, bam. There's a up kicker or whatever. Not an up kicker, but a little up post that'll stop your ball. So there's your left shot. Then we got some drops here. We'll talk about more of that, which is pretty neat. But then let's go back to this crazy flow, right? If you shoot this shot, this is what we talked about earlier. This is where you can go around, and this is where you can go around and around and around. That's this Nate shot or whatever. This ramp up here, it immediately comes down and feeds your right flipper. There are people that on the plunge, it looks like it feeds that upper flipper. Like it just seems like the flow just starts immediately, which is pretty awesome. Joel, what color precision flip? Probably purple. I don't know, actually, because there's red. I don't know. Good question. Then we got this captive ball. Boom. I'm glad. I'm glad it's not Dead Space. I think it's cool that they put a cool mech there, something unique. And then we got this optical spinner, right? An optical spinner right dead center of the playfield.
Yeah.
That's something that
so sick too.
Jack has mentioned many times that Deadpool is that is his favorite game. And what does Deadpool have right dead center of the game? It's got a spinner. It's got the Wolverine spinner. This is now an optical spinner. I know Bond 60th, or not Bond, the Bond Cornerstone has a spinner right up the middle. A Jurassic Park spinner right up the middle.
Yeah, and they were destroying
Godzilla.
that thing.
Yeah.
In the stream. I
Spinner
mean,
right up the middle.
It was like it had some of the best, I thought, spinners sound effects of all
Yes.
the modern games.
And
I
it
mean,
just
it was
goes
crazy.
and
It
goes.
goes, yeah.
Yeah,
It,
it's
it
optical.
also
Going.
it also feeds your upper
Yep,
flipper.
upper
And I
right.
noticed with that loop that you're talking about as well, with the upper flipper, the big loop,
Mhm.
I noticed a few times, and I know you could do this I think on Jurassic Park you could do it, as long as it was dialed in properly, but it generates more speed as you're going around that loop, right? So if you get around that loop twice and just hold your flipper up, the ball will come back down and bounce up and go through that loop again a third time on its
No,
own.
really.
They did that a
Wow.
couple times tonight on the stream, I noticed as well. Yeah, you just like 1, 2, and as it's going fast enough, just hold your flipper
hold
up,
the flipper
and the
and
ball will naturally go around that loop again.
So I will say, and I voiced this before, like Toy Story. One of my biggest frustrations with Toy Story was Bo Peep loops, the upper loop shot, and that's because there was only 2 ways to feed that upper flipper. Well, 3, you could plunge it, but like one, you either spit it in the pops and hope it spits it out on the right side, or you have to feed the woody saucer and then it farts it out over to the spinner. This, like, if you have to hit upper flipper shots here, there are multiple ways to feed this, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Ordered Deadpool Premium from you guys today. You must have had cancellation due to Foo Fighters. So excited. Oh, dude, Robbie, awesome. Good for you, man. Fantastic game. Fantastic game.
You're going to love that thing.
Then we got some stand-ups. We got a very cool bash toy here that it interacts with when you bash. There's a magnet under here. It actually captures the ball and then becomes a captive ball that you have to hit to then go back and hit a ball, just like on Deadpool. Deadpool, the drop targets pop up and you have to hit those and it kind of goes and hits. Very, very cool. This, you can't hit this side little whoop thing. You can't hit from the bottom left flipper, but you can through this crazy jump thing. I just love that. I love that squiggle across. Then we have the right ramp. Right ramp, we already talked about this. Right ramp. If you do nothing, if you leave the flipper alone, it just goes right by and boom, fed the right flipper. Very safe shot. Very safe shot. Very, very cool. Otherwise, if you get up here, you can do so many whatever you want up here before the thing comes down. I mean, that's pretty sick. But this is the shot that really blew my mind, right? Is the right orbit. What happened here, right? The right orbit, it's nothing new. There's no new mech here. We've already been rolling all over this part. Multiple shots feed this part. Multiple shots. But what happens if you go the other way? You know what happens if you go the other way? You go this way. It's coming around. But then what does it do? It comes down here and feeds that. This little horseshoe loop thing. So your right orbit actually goes all the way. So you hit it with your left flipper. It goes down. It goes like this. And then it goes boop. And it goes right down to your left flipper.
Very Godzilla. I feel like that was his little Elwin.
It's like the tail whip.
Yeah.
It's like and I know the tail whip. I think we all saw it when we saw Elwin put that there, and we're like, "You're telling me I have a shot that's coming towards me?
Yeah.
Like you have to hit it, and it's coming down and whipping around. Like I don't know. I don't know if this was a direct inspiration or just coincidental. I don't know. Sure, if this would have been a pop bumper, then yeah, that would be like directly. It seems very, but
kicker.
I know. That's the thing. I'm glad it's not a pop bumper, but it's, to me, what a unique. I love that. You're telling, like, the shots that I know I love, like on Deadpool, the left orbit and it goes around into the katana ramp, or on James Bond, left orbit and goes around a katana ramp, or not a katana ramp, but another ramp, or Stranger Things, left orbit and then it turns into a ramp. This is now a left orbit shot that actually just squiggles all the way around the playfield and feeds your flipper. Like, I don't know. I thought that was such a clever shot. Like such a clever shot.
That little loop on the side, that little turn on the right side that it comes out of. I'm wondering, and I didn't see anything. I don't think you can, but I'm wondering if that's a makeable shot, like
From the
reverse. Yeah, like if you can, because there is definitely a switch there, right below the that's the switch there. So I'm wondering if it's a makeable
kind
shot
of like
in
Godzilla, where if you have a weird sling and the sling will pop it through. You know, I've had that before on Godzilla. I don't know, but one thing I saw, so like Ray Day, what was it? Ray Day, there's one of the secret skill shots here on was tonight. It's like he plunged, it went through here, then he went up here, then he hit this ramp, then it fed down here, and then from the ramp he hit this shot, which fed this through, which went through here, and then he hit the ramp again, and it fed his right flipper, and then he hit it again.
Like,
I mean, it's
could
like,
this thing get any more flowy?
It's like
what? Is this the flowiest of flow games?
Like, what is going on? And what's crazy is everything I just said. I mean, all you have to do is, you know, if you do this and then it goes like that and it feeds your right flipper and then you can hit the left ramp and then it's now going to feed this left flipper and boom, you can go all the way up here and hit this. I mean, or you can go from that to this thing and now it's squiggling all the way down and around and back to your, I mean, what is going on? That is the thing. I am just blown away and super impressed with how well these shots correspond to each other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it made me think too, Joel, because it is so intricate and well thought out that it got me thinking about Jack, his first full game. Is this guy a shot savant, or has he had some serious help? And so I got thinking, and I don't want to take anything away from Jack. The guy's been
Yes.
around
Yeah.
pinball for many years. He knows his shit clearly, right? And I think they started him off with the home pin to get his feet wet and see what his ideas. But I do think that Stern in general, and this would go for all their games now, this is a company literally firing on all cylinders. And one of the reasons why they are firing on all cylinders is because I believe they do not isolate anybody on any of these teams. So they've got so many people looking at these things and offering good feedback. They got the top players literally in the world working for them and have been around pinball for decades. They got a guy like George Gomez. I don't want to say they can't fail, but they almost can't fail. Like there's no way a shit game should be coming out of this company almost ever, right? And it's not to say they can't. I don't want to jinx them, but really, like, and I'm sure Jack came to the table with a ton of great ideas. But you can see, and he even talks about it, that this team digs in on this thing, and no one is beyond criticism, critique. They all seem open to it. Now I'm sure in reality they're everyone's got ego and all that stuff, but they just function. It feels very collaborative over there right now, which is what you want in a project like a pinball machine that involves so many different so many different, I'm going to say artist stuff, but so many different skill sets is what I'm trying to say, that you really need that. And I think the game from top to bottom, it just oozes that, right? It's not just one guy's vision. It's like he started it out, but then everyone adds to the pot, and this is what you get in the best case scenario, right?
Well,
Yeah.
so two things. Pinball Eddie, yes, they're not set up to fail. A true cohesive team. Cohesive is a fantastic word. Now, I'm going to bring this up, and I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to be rude. But Halloween, right? Halloween and Ultraman. They even said, though, as a team, they basically said this pin was designed by multiple people, right? And so there was a lot of people that had feedback on that of like, it feels like it was meant, like where's the clear direction? It's like, or were there areas of Halloween or Ultraman that seemed like it just wasn't cohesive? So by on one side of that, designed by committee, that could be bad. That could be construed as bad. But Stern, like Spooky it's like, I don't know, it's easy. I mean, for sure, it's less than 10 people. Less than 10 people at Spooky are actually designing the game now. And that could even be, it seems like it's just Luke and Bug that are designing the play field. And then they had like 3 or 4 coders that are putting input into the game, but it's a small group, right? And everything that you just said, Craig, like Stern is a monster. They have 4 or 5 designers. They have a huge team of mechanical engineers.
Yeah.
They have some of the best pinball players on the planet that are working for you to test your shots, to test your code, to challenge you in different stuff. You've got people like John Borg that he's designed 80 games or whatever. You have George Gomez. You have so many people there that are all going to look at your game, touch your game, play your game, give you, I don't know. It's just that group think
Feedback,
that they have. You can't beat that. You can't beat that with any other company.
I will say, I think on Craig's point, I'd probably take it a step further since this is Jack's first cornerstone. I have to believe that they offered extra resources to make sure that this came out as polished, as further in the code than their most recent release, Bond. And I know it's a different licensor. Foo Fighters are probably much easier to work with than the Bond estate because Dave Grohl probably has a big hand in it and says, hey, we're going on tour. Let's just, let's get this rolling. What do you need? Yeah. But I have a strong feeling that for Jack's first pin, they probably said, look, we're going to give you whatever you need as far as assistance. but we want to make sure that you don't come out of the gate with not a clunker, but something less than expected, where people
they don't want him to fail.
expect that he's going to make a great, unique shooting, flowing pin, and they succeeded. I don't think that he was without anything that he didn't anything that he needed. I think they probably stepped up and said, what do you need to
We're
make
not
this
going to let you fail.
Yeah.
Have you guys watched any of his like over the last couple of years or even before that? He was working on like a homebrew, a dead flip homebrew and all that. Have any of you guys seen that? Because I'm like, when I looked at this game, I saw a lot of the ideas that he had in those homebrews in here. So not to say that he's not getting help from other people, but I do definitely see a lot of Jack Danger in it. Like that upper loop that goes up and around is very similar to what he was creating in one of his. I think he was calling it Dead Flip, actually. The
Dad
game
Flip or something.
Yeah. And like he had something where the ball goes around a pop and then comes up around again. Very similar to that left shot there. And he also had that the outlane post that pops up and saves the ball.
Dead post or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think I think they let him, they probably did give him more resources to put things in, and I would say, even just someone giving advice, just open up this shot a little bit, or tweak this, tweak that. That sort of stuff definitely is probably something that I think that probably happens all the time. I mean, not just with Dead Flip or Jack. I think everybody probably has a look at everybody's games and says, I'd like to open this up a little bit, or suggestions, that kind of a thing. And that's why Stern knocks out almost, I guess, every single game they put out. I mean, people can complain about Bond right now, but there's nothing wrong with the Bond layout. It's just the code. Once the code is fleshed out in Bond, it's going to be a great game too. So, I mean,
But at the same time, nothing against George Gomez, but like this layout is insane. This layout, I would say Gomez's layout is somewhat safe. It is unique, like that double ramp and everything. There are some unique elements on it. But like this is a crazy, props to Jack. The balls, the balls on him to run with it. I mean, look at these slings. I mean, these slings are like, that is such a unique thing. And I love it. And I know he said that of like, I want to make, pinball weird again. Like, now I know Hadi's mentioned this and I don't want to like ignore it, but there's a target right here that's not facing the flipper, and it has a kicker behind it. So if that ball hits that thing, that ball just hits it and then goes bam.
It made it up the left ramp.
Yeah. It's insane. I saw that. I mean, that kicker is strong, so it's going to go there. It's going to hit your calf ball, maybe even hit the spinner in the middle. Just bam. I mean, it's bam.
The other thing I noticed too, Joel, in watching the stream is initially I thought this was going to be a long player initially, because I don't know who it was who was on it. The ball seemed to go out, but then as more people started to play, even a guy like Raymond Davidson, I noticed that the ball times weren't crazy long, considering the flow on this game. Like you said, is very it's very flowy. So I do think it's going to be a challenge, to keep it flowing, that it's there. And that's going to probably be the fun of it, is that, the shots are there, but just getting your timing down and getting the hang of it at all is going to be interesting, and I do think it is challenging in the lower part of that play field. I think it's deceptively challenging.
Most of the shots in the game are safe. Like
if you hit them,
they will typally, if you hit the shot, of course. I mean, a lot of games have safe shots as long as you hit them, except for Black Knight, obviously. But I mean, almost every shot here can lead to the ball coming right back onto your flipper safely. So I also thought the same thing. I thought, is this going to be a long player? But it's fast.
Yeah,
it's fast. Yeah. So that's what it has going for it too, is like, there are some great players that have great accuracy, but the faster a game is, the weaker your accuracy becomes. So if you can make your shots on a fast playing game, all the power to you. But I think the speed is really what's gonna make sure that this game is not as long a player as
Yeah.
we would appear to think it is.
And there's a lot of side to side action here. And that's, I'm not the competitive player, but what I've learned is you want to avoid side to side action. You want to keep the ball vertical. And that's what you get with a fan layout. You get a very vertical game that the ball is going to feed back in some way. And this is a lot of side to side, which I think this is exciting. I think it's cool. Some of the comments, though, that I have heard is there's a good chance this game's going to be rather hard for novice players because it's not so it's not a fan layout. It's not a fan layout. So what shots are going to be comfortable right there on the dead center of your flipper? Well, from that left, maybe the left ramp, you're going to hit drop targets, which the ball's coming back at you. Maybe this upper spinner, it's not like you have this huge assortment of things. So what do we have here? Bob with Outlaw Pinball. He said, Gomez, Borg, Owen, Danger all seem to be pretty humble. I agree. Not so much with Steve Ritchie. Yeah. Now, so there's obviously a big difference. This is probably Jack going to people at Stern like, help me. Or like, I want to know your opinion. I want to learn from you. It is very clear this is a mentorship type thing, which is you should absolutely use those skills. While I don't know, I doubt Gomez is going to everybody at Stern saying, help me. Maybe he is, maybe he's not. I don't know. I don't know exactly how that works, but
I would think you're right, Joel, not to the same degree. And you hear when George talks about it, like he had some very specific ideas, I think Gomez did, and went into he cloistered himself and worked hard on that Bond game because he had some very specific ideas. I don't doubt that he opened himself up to critique at some point, but he went deep on that game, I think.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Where's the break in the action on this pin? Is it just the loss?
So I thought about that. The only two things that I can see that stop the ball are you hit the left ramp and it stops at the van.
Okay.
Or
so that's your
you hit this thing enough that fork comes up and stops the ball.
Is
Otherwise,
there's
the
pro.
There's a fork on the
it's the only difference I think is just the magnet. There's no magnet underneath there. That's the only difference.
That thing
in
just throws it around.
I also think, doesn't the toy have like a sort of like a little shaker in it too?
It does, on the premium. So yes, real quick, Zach is here in check. If anybody's interested, if anybody's got the Foo fever, right? If they want it, yes, reach out to Zach at Flippin' Out, and he'll get you on the list for the pros and the premiums. And like I said earlier, if you happen to be going to Louisville Arcade Expo, he does have show special games, Godzilla, Elvira, and the two Bonds. So, bye. Yeah,
so many good choices. Holy.
All right. So, what is very cool is, to be honest, every line that I drew is the same on a pro. The only difference is if you hit this right ramp, you can't do this. Blah, 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 before it comes down, but otherwise it's the same layout. So pretty cool. This shows this little captive ball mech, but what's interesting here is there is a loop. So I've never seen a captive ball that does this kind of loop. There's only one switch.
Mustang had
it does.
Yeah.
So I'm curious how that exactly works or is implemented. But
there's a switch, and I think the harder you hit it, the ball may be able to kind of go around a couple of times. And I'm wondering if maybe there's some implementation of, trying to get it around as many times as you can to activate something or whatever. Okay. So I do like that. Like I said, I used to have a Mustang. There was one in it as well. It wasn't implemented very well. It didn't get used very often, but it was there. So I'm hoping that it gets used a little better here.
Okay. All right. So that's it for layout. Is there any other things when it comes to what we're seeing with shots and layout, or even mechs or anything like that? Because I want to dive into code, but is there anything else that you think here?
Just props to them for 2 opto spinners. Thank you.
Yeah. It's so crazy. The spinner sound.
The one in
the upper playfield. Yeah.
Sorry, Mike. You're only getting one, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, that's fine. You know what? I will say, in all honesty, and this is not defending, one over the other, but I like the openness of the left side of the playfield when looping the ball,
Because you can
right?
see it.
Because you can see the ball
Yes.
and maybe get your timing a little better. Whereas as it goes under the playfield, you don't have a whole lot of time before you see the ball again, before you have to hit it again. Now, I did notice that they were able to hit it. So I mean, it's possible. I just feel like being able to see the ball
Yeah.
almost the entire time will help with looping the ball there. And one other thing I wanted to point out before we get into the other stuff is, like, because you were asking, is the stand-up target behind the drop targets as well.
Yes. Okay. That
There's
little
a
paddle
long
thing.
there's a long stand-up target behind
Let
the
me
drop targets
there's
there,
a
and I
good
like
picture
the
of that.
placement. I like the placement of that
There,
drop
oh,
target
it's right
bank.
there.
Because as I had mentioned, when you're doing that loop, if you hold the flipper up and the ball's going fast enough, it'll go
Yeah.
around that loop. Well, if it's going around that loop and it's not fast enough and you hold the flipper up, it's going to bounce off that and go right into that drop target bank as well. So I think and also with that upper flipper, you can hit that captive ball as well. So that captive ball can also be hit. So there's a lot of shots with that upper flipper that you can hit, which I really like when it's not just one or two shots that you can use it for.
Shout out to Hobbit.
Yeah.
Hobbit's over flipper. Yeah. Well, we didn't even talk about these. We didn't talk about
Yeah.
these, but we will.
Yeah.
We will. We'll talk about those with the code. Come on, go to that. So one thing, and maybe this is a good transition, but one of the things they talked about, so there's the top of it. You can see those 3 drop targets, but then there's a paddle behind it. And they're basically saying you use this drop bank to upgrade your van. So you have
your
the
van modes,
ability to upgrade your van before you go into modes. You can upgrade speakers, engine, and your bomb. So I didn't hear what everything was, but the engine I know adds time. The speakers add points, but I don't know what the bomb adds.
It makes the modes easier.
Oh, it's just okay.
Yeah, it makes them easier to complete. So there's easier modes, more time, and better scoring. And then I believe that that stand up behind there will it's like a bonus multiplier as well.
Let's look at this. Yes.
And when you hit that, it will reset the bank back up again.
So what I saw is there is a light that will be on. So, and that scrolls, I think. I don't know if it's scrolling just time-based or if it's a switch-based or something. But once you hit a drop target, it will lock in that item. That's the same thought as Rush. That's the same as Walking Dead, Avengers.
Yeah.
So once it's locked in, remember you've hit one of the things down. What they then want you to do is hit the other 2 down without hitting the bar in the back, which is pretty clever. I think that's pretty clever. If you hit all 3 down without hitting the bar in the back, then you upgrade. And I don't know, they made it sound like you could do that over and over and over again.
Yeah, I think the color of it changes the level of it or something. The color of the light.
Okay, because it looks like there's off and then on. I don't know. Yeah. So I'm curious if there'll be different levels here. I don't really know. But what is interesting though is if you hit the bar behind it, it does some. I don't know if it resets it or what, but it does.
Well, Ray Davidson was saying
it like penalizes you.
It sort of penalizes you, but also awards you. I believe Ray Davidson said it'll give you a bonus X for your bonus, but it will also reset the bank.
Yes, so that's
right. So if you're trying to get the bomb or whatever, and you hit the target in the back, from my understanding, you'll get a bonus X, but then the bank will reset and you have to do the whole bank again.
And I've got to say that's kind of cool. I think it's pretty clever. I think it's pretty clever to combine those 2 mechs. I mean, I know on my turtles I have 2 big old bars on the left and right, and I will say the way they're coded, I'm glad they're bars. I'm glad they're not individual targets because that would be freaking hard. But to have this combo here, and then also, I think it's clever. I definitely think it's clever for sure. So that's
a
one
pleasant surprise from Tanyo and Ray Day being the team on the code, which is really cool.
Oh yeah.
because I didn't expect that for sure.
Mhm.
We knew Tanyo. We knew
Yeah.
Tanyo, but I did not expect Ray Day to be a part of
No,
it.
I didn't either.
And what excites me is this is a banned pin, but if you think about it, the way that Led Zeppelin was coded was they coded the shots to change as you're playing the song. So it is a song progression that's changing shot progression. So it is very intricate, it's very much intricated. I don't know. It's part of the song. You can't have one without the other. So
Right.
I don't see anybody taking a Led Zeppelin and swapping out for whatever Dixie Chicks, and somehow you would have it's not going to work, right? Like the songs have to be that. You go to Rush though. Rush, they made the songs stylized. So like I know Limelight is all about like the lights are going off and then you have to hit the shots. So it's choreographed into the meanings of the song. I will say this one, it's kind of loose. It seems like they're making fun story modes, and the
Mhm.
songs kind of deal with it in a way.
Like Iron Maiden.
How dare you, Joel? I'm replacing all the songs with Inya. Yeah, good luck, man. But yeah, Iron Maiden would be a good example, right? A good example.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see what Raymond can do with a story. You know,
Mhm.
I will say though, watching the stream, one of the last games they played, Raymond was playing a ball for a while. Like in comparison to everybody else on stream, it was a long time. And I saw him complete one mode. So right now, these modes are long or look to be challenging to complete. So I'll be interested to see how they figure that out and arrange that in a way that is balanced. Because to see him play that game, to play that ball as long, like he played a long ball, drained, had one mode complete, had an extra ball
Mhm.
though, and then in the second one completed a second mode. When it looks like there's 6 modes, like you have to get through. So I don't
Mhm.
know. I know Tanyo, his modes in Deadpool were a lot more forgiving. So, this will happen, right? This will be figured out or in some way.
And Joel too, one last thing before we get away from the layout, because we forgot one pretty unique feature I thought as well to this game, which is I think maybe if you want to call it like a signature feature or something that I wonder if Jack's going to put in more of his games, was that, what do you want to call it? Post that comes up, a dead flip
The
post?
dead
The
post, I
dead
think is
post?
what they called it.
Dead Coast.
Dead. There's a name
And
for it.
I
Yeah.
love the fact that they did this as well. Again, it just adds a unique feature to this game versus the last 10 they've done, where they've put that post in there, which I think is awesome.
Yes. So to illustrate this post right here pops up. So it's hard to see, but there's a post right here that pops up. So if the ball is coming down, it's going to be hugging this rail. It hits that post and it forces the ball to ricochet upwards. If you have your left flipper down though, that ball is
You
going to
can't.
hit. It's going to
Nope.
go.
It won't go up. They said the post will go up. You have to hold your left flipper up, otherwise you lose the
You
ball.
miss the shot.
Yeah.
So it won't
So
even go
it-
up unless you
It
hold
won't
your
even go up.
That's
You'll lose
clever.
your ball. Yeah.
I like
and
that.
I think on the Pro it's the same thing, but it's just a ball save. You have to hold your left flipper up, and then when the ball drains, you'll
So
get
it's
your ball
saying
back.
you're
I
acknowledging.
think.
You're acknowledging. Interesting. So
Yeah,
as soon
yeah.
as this flippers up and out of the way, then this
post
ball
will,
go
yeah.
up, and then depending on speed, though, that's the thing. If that ball's flying,
Yeah, it's not a
then
gimme.
yeah, it's going to bounce up pretty high. But if that ball's kind of a trickle, you really have to react because that may only hit the tip of your flipper. I think it's pretty clever. Like I know that was something on his homebrew, but props to Jack and Stern for actually figuring it out and getting it to work. I just like that it's mechanical because I'm a fan of an actual kickback,
And you can automate that, like
But-
the chat was saying, and I remember
think
them
it's pretty
talking about
cool.
that too. You can automate that whole sequence, so it'll automatically flip that up for you.
That could be cool.
Um,
At least the
I
first
I
time
like
or
for
yeah.
beginners, right?
Yeah.
I love that post. I really think that is a great feature. I'm upset that it's not in the pro. I mean, they could have put it in there. There's not a lot to
Could
it.
have,
It's
yeah.
just a coil with a
Definitely could
post,
have.
right? I
Yeah.
mean, there's 4 up posts in Jurassic Park for crying out loud, 2 in each in lane, all this stuff, right? So they could have done that, but I understand why they didn't, because it's a cool feature.
It is very clever. Yeah.
I'm seeing, you have the ball trapped on your right flipper, and you're in a multi-ball, and the ball is draining down the side, and then you have to, because
You
if you
gotta
have the
flip
right flipper up,
away,
and then you have to flip
yeah.
away, so it's sort of forcing you to have to, make a decision. Oh, do I really want this ball back, or do I want to keep the ball controlled on the
Yeah.
flipper? That sort of stuff. So
That's
I
clever.
like the it's very clever.
Combo Viking outlane bumper and a center post from
Yeah.
like
Yeah. It's
the
unique. Yeah.
System 11s. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, and I think there's a small little bit of controversy amongst competitive pinball players with this post, because people were saying, is it a death save? I mean, the ball is below the flippers.
It's a
so
feature. It's
It's
more
a
of an outlet
feature.
feature,
Yeah, and
yeah.
I think they said it in our Discord. It was
Yeah.
like, well,
It's
it's
the
the same as a
center
middle
post.
post,
Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah.
G Money in chat here. Hopefully co-op will happen. I thought I heard today in
Yes.
chat that is absolutely planned.
Yeah.
So it's right now they're at 0.8 code. 0.8 code, which is awesome. I mean, that's a great spot to be in. If you look here in the middle of the playfield, it looks like there's 6 cities. All 6 of those were coded. All of those we did see. I don't think we saw anything else, though. This DC or Austin Wizard mode, I did not see. There was something with the code about assembling this Foobot, this thing right here in the middle of the playfield.
Yeah.
There's multiple
Yeah.
parts to it.
When you
They're
collect
quite
one of the so each shot, I believe, is one of the band members, and I think it's when you've collected that band member. I saw in one of the animations, you get like an action figure. You get an
Yeah.
action figure of that
And a
character,
part,
and
yeah.
with that action figure comes one of the parts of the Foobot, and you gotta create this Foobot to, I'm assuming, battle this Overlord at the end of the game or whatever.
Yeah,
so.
Nick got to Austin. I think
Oh, he
Outlaw
did?
Pinball's right.
So
Yeah,
what was Austin? What was that like?
I don't remember. I know he was talking about, they were asking him, hey, are you going to get to Austin? Because it's in there, and I didn't get to see it, but I do know
Yeah.
that I think they have it coded, at least for the basics.
So the 6, I think once you do assemble this thing, because Ray Day thought he had it, and then what he saw was it was actually something wrong with the code. so Raymond was playing it, and like the 3 of his parts should have stayed lit, and they didn't, but they were displaying like they were lit. So he thought he had completed it when he hadn't, and he's like, "Oh, if only that would have been coded right." And that's his thing. Like it is his fault, which I thought was pretty funny. But
I think you lose parts too when you drain. I think they were talking
Potentially,
about
yeah.
you like when you have to maybe build them all up in one ball or something. I don't
Yeah.
know, but yeah, you definitely lose parts when you drain.
So Foobot Topper Inevitable reminds me of the Transformers Constructicons or Voltron. I agree. They've already talked about in the Insider Connected podcast, which with Nate Shivers, Zombie Eddie already mentioned that apparently they are actually going to work with NECA to make this action figure. And then he said something about the topper. It's going to interact with the topper in some way.
Be able to place them on the topper
I don't
or
know.
something.
I don't know what that means.
Oh,
I
for
have no
God's
idea.
sake.
A little
But,
diorama for
yeah,
all your
but
for all
buckle
your
up.
toys to-
Yeah.
They're
Probably
killing me.
light up and shake when you collect the band member.
Okay, so one thing that I would like to address before the code is the animations. The animations on this game, holy crap. They are fantastic. And I will tell you right now, it makes me very sad because somebody said, I was hoping Turtles was going to have this type of animations that I'm seeing here. And I'm sad they don't. And then on top of that, like to see these hand-drawn animations and the way that they are choreographed, they're just
Awesome.
But you think about, there's been so many other like Avengers had animations, but they're just rescaling, or even once again like Spooky with Halloween, like I don't know if Stern just did way more frames. They did way more keyframes to make it, or if it was just way better drawn. Kerry Hardy, yes, I think you were the guy that said, "Darn you for bringing that into my head." Kerry, he said yes. Kerry was like, "I wanted Turtles to have the animations that I'm seeing here." Yes, you are correct. You are correct.
This goes to that thing I was talking about earlier, where I think they said you will have extra resources to make sure your first cornerstone goes out in a really premium fashion. And seeing those animations, you can just tell it was it was either the A+ team or all hands on deck, because you look at AIQ, you look at Ninja Turtles, and man, it is stunning. It is.
And they also
absolutely-
yeah, it's great. You know, it is. They also mentioned they packed a ton in at the end of the game too. At the
that
end
we
of the
haven't
game,
seen yet. Yeah.
that like opens up. So you know, you're not going to see the majority of the animations just through your gameplay. You're going to have to get to the end of the game if you want to see a lot more they have packed in there, which is really cool.
So
It's you know, it's an interesting change too with this game versus say a Rush, where they went more for the live music feel from different eras with that band, versus this where they went with live animations to tell more of a story. And you know, the effect of that, I think it makes it a little more I don't want to say entertaining, because it's always, I think, fun to see live bands, but I
Healing.
think it's much more effective with this particular band, just because to see these guys live, no offense to Foo Fighters, but I don't think it would have been nearly as interesting to see them live
Well-
versus, you know, versus this, where they've stylized themselves and they've made it very kind of Ghostbustery, comic book like. It's interesting that, you know, Rush was going for that comic book feel on the play field, but they opted for live music on the videos, right? As opposed, you know, I wonder if it would have, if Rush, if we had seen the same kind of animations, how that would have felt on that Rush machine either. So I think it's great that they did that versus just going with live music like a lot of the music
yes,
pins do, right?
a lot of music pins, that's the way they've gone. Now Iron Maiden was very different. Iron Maiden,
correct,
but
too.
Iron
Yep.
Maiden, they have like Eddie is a thing of theirs. They already have these storylines and mythical this and that, and they pull it all in so it fit their band. But to be honest, I think GNR has set the bar for a live music pin experience. You know, you compare GNR to Led Zeppelin. I understand, obviously, Mike, how much you're enjoying your Led Zeppelin, but yet, like, you don't experience the same I'm at a concert in Led Zeppelin as you did with GNR.
No, GNR is like the number one concert in a box
epitome
for
of
sure,
it.
100%.
Yes, they
Now,
crushed it with that.
Yeah, one thing that reminded me of talking about the code and the band games and whatnot. Aerosmith was a game that had all cartoon animations in the code as well.
Yep.
Definitely not up to this par.
Yeah.
And I think Aerosmith was one of the first games with the LCD as well. But
Yeah.
that was more your typical band pin, but instead of using live footage, it was just cartoon footage of the band playing shows or whatever. But
well, Pinmonk has pointed it out, and they talked about it on the Insider Connected podcast, was Jack and the team realized very early that the way the Foo Fighters make their music videos and the way they just don't care, like they just want to have fun, they want to be creative. So Jack's like, I'm pretty certain that this is the closest that I'm going to get to an unlicensed game. So where do we want to go? And they went aliens, you know, like they went, this is the direction they headed. And it seems like they were saying they were getting, you know, they were throwing things out at the band or band management. Are you cool if we do this? And they're like, within hours, they're like, yep. Like they didn't care. And seeing that in the different modes, I mean, sure, it's the band, but like the Scooby-Doo mode, everybody that saw it when you're up here in the Area 51, I paused right here because this sculpt is incredible. Like I love this. And yes, it's Invader Zim. If you haven't watched Invader Zim is fantastic. That's what it looks like. But this sculpt is incredible. But the Area 51 multi-ball animation is straight up Scooby-Doo. Like
totally,
it is straight up Scooby-Doo. And it's one of those, and to see people in chat and they're like, holy cow, Stern just out Scooby-Doo. Like it's hilarious. It was hilarious, like incredibly well done. Yeah, it's
I really thought this band pin.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought this band pin, if this was going to be a traditional band pin, I've seen their Wembley concert, which is their equivalent to Queen's Live Aid
Yeah.
and other historic concert. I thought if
Scooby-Foo.
they were going to make this a band pin, I thought it was going to be based on their Wembley performance and be like, okay, I can easily pass up a Foo Fighters
Oh, yeah.
music pin.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this is such a great approach of mesh, sort of merging in Attack from Mars and this sort of cartoon, Hanna-Barbera style cartoon, 90s cartoon style. They knocked it out of the park with this one.
Yeah, I agree. I think this might be the only band or music pin that goes that route, that creates a story, as opposed to you gotta collect records, or
Yeah.
you gotta complete this song or whatever. Like, there's no Iron Maiden is close. Iron Maiden is
Sure,
close, but not quite. And I argued with Carter and here about it, because Iron Maiden doesn't really have like a intertwined story. It's just like you have your modes that are songs and you have to battle the beast at the end. But this is like a story. You're the band, you're going from city to city, you're trying to, keep rock alive, build this robot, beat the overlord. All these aliens are trying to kill rock and roll. So like there's a story behind it, and I think it's really I think it's great, because not only if you're not a Foo Fighters fan,
Yeah.
you're still going to want to play the game because it's got a cool story, right?
I'm with you. Yeah.
Right. I said, whereas like, let's say Rush, for example, I mean, there's no story to Rush at all, really. I mean, you're just playing songs, you're playing multi-balls after songs, collecting albums, collecting records, whatnot. So if you're not a Rush fan or you dislike Rush, there's maybe not a lot in the game that'll draw you to play it. Whereas in this one, it's like, well, I don't know who Foo Fighters are, but I want to destroy the Overlord. So, people are going to play the game anyway.
What's that bash toy, and why can I not hit
Yeah,
it?
exactly.
And yes, luckily the Foo Fighters music, I mean, it's solid rock music that is fun music to pump you up and energize this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Carrie Hardy did point out that the band members actually look like the band members. That is good. That is good.
Yes.
Yes, I agree. Rush was a little off on that, but
it is pretty impressive. Now, I will say, I mean, I'm not the biggest Foo Fighters fan. I think they're good. I think they're absolutely good. It's solid rock music. But watching the stream, even for 2 hours, it's like, okay, I'm glad that they let you select what songs you want to listen to, because otherwise that's going to get pretty old pretty quick, hearing My Hero every time you plunge. So it's like, okay, at least you can rotate songs. But yeah, I mean, you can run into that though with almost any music pin. And I was trying to think about that. I'm like, why is it that a music pin, it's got to be the words, but why is it that a music pin can get old? Like hearing this, but like, I don't like Godzilla or Deadpool. Like I don't find any of that music. Like that music doesn't get old to me. And maybe it's just because there aren't words, your brain doesn't focus on as much. I don't know. I'm
You
curious.
can kind of tune it out maybe a little easier, because
Fooby
to your point, it
I think
doesn't
the
have
best
words, right?
the best way to implement a music pin is like Rush, like Metallica, Iron Maiden. Just pick a song at the beginning of the game that you want to play to the game to.
Well,
that's it. Pick your song, and then as you're playing modes, the song will change. The song will change based on the mode you pick, but then when you're out of that mode, it goes back to the original song that you picked. And one thing I did notice, there are 15 songs in the game, but I think you could only
pick 6.
Or
okay,
something.
9.
Was it 9 or something?
Yeah.
Well, there was
all
like
goes right
a
away.
row of 6, and then there was like 3 on the sideways, I think.
Okay.
So I don't know if the other songs may become selectable after you finish certain wizard modes like other games. Because I know Rush had like 1 or 2 songs that you could then select after beating the wizard modes, or if they're just multi-ball modes, and these songs will only play
probably
if you activate these
multi-ball
modes.
Because there's 6 cities, so you can control that.
That could be
but we'll have to see there. Spyro's saying there were 8 songs, but I don't know. I just Pinball Eddie had mentioned TNA, and that's a good point. Like TNA, every time you hit start, it's the same song. It's the same, but for some reason that song,
a great song,
not gotten old. But it's got to be something with words. I don't know, but Oh God,
Crazy to
TNA's so
think
good.
where a music pin's music
Boop.
is a backdrop against the whole package, where it's
Yeah.
not even
Mhm.
It's not the
the
selling
main
feature.
focus. Yeah.
It is. I mean, I get it. Like Mike, you were told very clearly by your wife and son, like you're buying this pen. And that was
Well, yeah,
before
I was.
that was
Yeah.
before you even saw it, right?
Well, yes. I mean, listen, like there's been rumors of a Foo Fighters pin for over a year now. I've heard that, Stern has a license, that it's being worked on, it's coming at some point. As soon as they heard that, they're like, I mean, if there's a Foo Fighter game, I want to get it.
Yeah.
So now the Foo Fighters is here. We have ordered it, but the problem is we're full. My other kids won't allow me to put
How
pinball machines in
dare
their
they?
rooms, and
How
Carter's room is full. So
dare they?
I have to get rid of something. So this is the first world problem that we have
Uh-huh.
right now is what to get rid of in order to get
Mhm.
Yeah.
the
I get
Foo
it.
It's a good point, Mike, and I was thinking about that too, how the hobby's getting it's an interesting hobby in that way, in that everyone at some point is either going to run out of room. Most people, I would say, are going to run out of room or run out of money, right?
Uh-huh.
And it's kind of like cars. I was trying to think other hobbies that kind of present similar problems. You could say any hobby you could run out of money eventually, but this, I think, much earlier than a lot of other hobbies, in that I wonder what the average number of pins somebody in pinball owns. Like I've got 2. Am I on the low side? Mike, you probably got, what do you got, a dozen back there or
15.
so?
Yeah.
You're probably a little on the high side. So I wonder, does the average pinball owner have 4, knowing that, for the amount of money they have and the amount of space that they want to dedicate to the hobby itself. So it's really interesting in that way. And what I noted, and this is just anecdotally on social media and different posts and stuff like that, is that while there's some people complaining a little bit about prices here and there, people are actively wanting. You can see on this chat too, like people are ordering them. I'm not hearing a lot of people that are going, in unison, pass, 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 pass. If
Yeah.
anything, I think these games are actually, that FOMO is real to a certain extent, but the games are look so good and so fun that it is drawing people and getting them to do just like what Mike's doing. Like, really, a dozen pinballs ain't enough? Well, this game is so fun. Now I'm being forced to get rid of an older one, right? Because I don't have the room to just
Dang.
throw another one
Yeah.
behind me.
Carrie
So
Hardy,
I just
yeah.
find that very interesting. It's neither good nor bad. It's kind of just the way, it's the cost of playing pool or whatever you want to call it.
It's yeah.
But
Yeah.
and I do think, just to get back to that old argument about, are the pins too expensive? The hobby, I think, is still very active and it is still growing. And so I don't believe personally that we are at that point where the games are, that we have found that ceiling yet. As sad as sad as that is for people that can't afford these games, and they are, let's face it, an expensive toy, more or less. So it is going to shut certain people out of the hobby to actually own them. Now, of course, they can always play them on location, which is awesome. But it is just an interesting aspect. I do think that there are more people finding the hobby still, and that the hobby in general is growing. So even when people are maxed out, there are other people still coming in that are just starting out.
Yep.
Some people, this is going to be their first game, right? They love Foo Fighters. All of a sudden, they hear there's a pinball machine, and it gets them interested in it. They're just going to get it just because it's Foo Fighters, and then they're like, "Ooh, geez, this is actually pretty fun. I'm going to take a look. Maybe I'm going to buy another one," right?
Yeah, and I've said that for everybody knows that. You either run out of space or money. That is what
Yeah.
it is. And I've said
Yeah.
it before. Part of me, I love this hobby. I love being involved in this hobby. But part of me would be okay if pinball just stopped right now,
Yeah,
because then at least we can all like focus on
Breathe.
what's available and
Yeah.
really kind of yeah. So to see Kerry Hardy, he's saying he's selling his Johnny Mnemonic, like to see, we've watched his videos of him redoing that whole thing. It's like, it's one of his children, but I get it. Like you can
Yeah.
only have so many. but it's awesome. It's awesome that the pinball hobby is continuing to raise the bar and improve on what a pinball machine can be. And I'm glad I'm tempted by the newer
Like
games that are coming
I
out.
am legit pissed off that I am wanting Rush, but now I'm like, damn it, is this game like I like the theme of Rush better, but is this game actually more fun?
Well,
Versus the music,
that's
like it's a
a
very interesting
Mhm.
thing.
And
I thought
that's
this was going to be an easy
title.
pass, like, oh, thank God,
yeah.
I don't like
Yeah.
this. But now I'm
If
seeing this. I actually broke out in a sweat when I started seeing it. I'm like, what the hell?
if it was a music pin straight up, just like Rush or Led
Yeah,
Zeppelin
yeah.
or anything,
Yeah.
I could see myself passing on it.
Yeah.
I'm not. I appreciate Foo Fighters. I like their music. I don't seek it out to listen to it, but when it's
Mhm.
on, it's
Mhm.
great. But this sold me on the game. Even if my wife and kid weren't huge fans and sort of forcing me to get the game anyway, I probably would be in anyway because of the way
The
it's
layout,
done.
yeah.
Definitely, yeah. So I think a lot of things were done right here for sure.
Yeah, I can't even. AK Osmanoff? I have no idea. Yes, this is definitely the best pin trailer I've seen. To me, what stands out to me in a pin trailer is if I see a shot or a mech that just looks like I want to experience that. Like what did I just see? Like I want to experience that shot, and experience what that feels like to hit that. And so much of this layout, like this layout is one of the most intriguing layouts I've seen. It's kind of like like I'm not going to say Jack's anywhere near Elwin's level, but it's like every time Elwin releases a pin, I'm like, I want to shoot that thing. It's intriguing. It pulls you in. This layout is so crazy that I'm like, I want to experience it. That was my fear. It's like, it looks amazing on the trailer. How's it going to shoot tonight? Is it going to be a clunk fest? But no, it actually seemed to flow really, really well. I paused it right here because I wanted to show that little rattle shot. I
See
thought that
how
was
they
pretty
did it.
clever how that
It
works.
lit
Yeah.
twice because it hit that switch
Yeah,
twice. So I'm
going on
wondering
twice.
if you do it 3 times, if it
What does the action button do?
They said it's almost like a boom button. Like you get
Mhm.
this
It's-
UFO
yeah,
shot,
It
something like
launches that
that.
missile or whatever.
Yeah.
it's three. There's 3 levels to the button, the way it was
Yeah.
explained, and it was explained, and I think Ray Davidson was the one who explained it, that to get your level 1 may take 10 shots, your level 2 will take 5 shots, and like your level 3 will take 3 shots. And if you get it up to level 3 and use the button, you'll only go down to level 2 and then be able to get level 3 quicker.
Gotcha.
But if you use all 3, then you go back down to level 1, then it becomes harder to get it back up again.
Interesting.
Yeah, and actually, I think it was Jack. Jack actually, I believe, was the one who came up with that sort of concept for the action button to give it levels. And I don't know what the action button does. I think it's something different each level or heightened. But yeah,
Maybe that'll be a good.
it's a cool concept.
Yeah, it'll be a good question for tomorrow's stream, something like that. Squalito's asking, so do you think this is not as good as Godzilla or JP? I don't. That's a tough question. I know my thoughts on JP, and they're different than a lot of other people's thoughts, but it's just very different. Do I think this layout? Which layout do we think is harder to hit? Like this is, I think, could be a challenging layout. Do you think this or Jurassic Park would be an easier? The flow
shots
that I
are
was
more
seeing tonight
forgiving.
looked pretty forgiving on this game.
The shots are
Yeah.
more forgiving on this game for sure.
I agree.
Jurassic Park.
This one, this one.
Yeah. Although I will say that I do think the right ramp and the I guess the Overlord target or whatever that guy is, Zim. I will say that they're pretty far away at the top of the game.
They're not gimmies. Yeah.
But you can backhand that ball into the little area behind those posts.
Okay.
I saw that done a couple times tonight. But yes, those shots are the right ramp is probably, to me, going to be one of the harder shots to hit just because of how far it is away from the flipper.
So normally when I have my friends and family come over and they play a game, it's like, well, what is the thing? What is the thing I want to get them to do? Obviously on this, if you have a premium, it's like, dude, just bash that thing. That's not dead center, and it is kind of far back, so it might be hard to do that. But
it's a little hole too.
Yeah.
It looks kind of
That'll be interesting to see how challenging. But look at that sculpt. I just think that
so good.
that really could be really neat. But that right ramp, that will be a challenge. Like if you're saying for multi-ball for novice players, you got to hit that right ramp 5 times. That could be a challenge. And then the other side of that is if they hit that right ramp, they got to be ready to hold up that left flipper to be able to bash that ball around up top. So I'll be interesting. And Tanyo did make a comment about that he, Ray is starting at one end of the code spectrum of trying to think, tournament strategies and deep thoughts, while Tanyo's like, how do I make this game accessible and fun for even the most novice player? And so obviously his focus was
loop.
the
Two
Area
loops,
51.
Joel.
I know.
I'm so glad they went with wire
Jesus.
and not plastic.
Not
ramps.
plastics.
I mean,
Yes.
it's
I
like
think that's a clever shot.
I don't want to say it's the perfect upper playfield, but damn it, it's like I said, it's one of the first ones I've
Craig,
seen.
you
where
haven't
that
played it
actually-
yet.
There's a lot on that playfield for the size
Yes.
of the playfield. There's a lot
Yeah.
on there, so they really did pack a lot on there. One thing I wanted to mention was, so the spinner, the spinner up the middle. I love a game that has like a spinner shot that you hit that you just get like massive points for.
Yeah.
And I noticed one of the modes that a spinner based mode, I think it was the bot frenzy or something like that.
Yeah.
All the stand-ups are little bots, I think, and every time you hit a stand-up, it raises the value of the spinner. When you rip that spinner, it just shows how much points you got for the frenzy, and then you hit another stand-up target, it raises the value more, and you get like a minute to just keep doing that.
Yeah.
So that's actually one of the modes that I'm looking forward to getting into and playing the most, because that spinner just looks like it rips for days, and I'm really looking forward to. Yeah, I mean,
God,
spinners are
so
great, but they need to be implemented into a game and be useful. The sounds are great and whatnot, but for me, if there's a way to implement it and give it some worth to go for, then it's
then you're
great.
in.
I think I have to order this game. I've come to that.
It's so good.
It really looks impressive. So Kerry Hardy here, he's saying, I'm gonna get used to playing with that death pose. So you're gonna start holding up your left flipper when you drain on the left out lane on other games, hoping for something to happen. What do you think was on Zombie's phone? He flashed something that he wasn't supposed to. It was probably
Venom.
No, it was probably something with the topper, because he already kind of spoiled that. On a scale of Deadpool to Black Knight, how critical to the gameplay do you think the Pro versus Premium will be? I actually think pretty low. They made it very clear in the stream today that all the code that's in the Premium is in the Pro. It's gonna just all that upper playfield is doing right now deals with the Area 51 multi-ball. So it'll be interesting if that's not there. They're saying it'll be like 5 hits to the right ramp will start the multi-ball, but then how do you potentially hit the jackpots or the other things? I don't know that answer. But good. Guess what? There's a stream tomorrow night on it. So that'll be an interesting thing. Kirk Hobbs, good seeing you. Simpsons is that playfield's pretty hard to beat. And I think
how
Simpsons
good is Rush and Foo Fighters gonna look side by side? It's gonna be like,
you're gonna have to have 3 then. Look at you, Craig. I thought you were a 2-pin household. You're about to be a 3-pin
I'll take a picture and show you.
Oh, Craig's
driving the
struggling.
dagger in.
Okay, well, here's the deal. We have 12 minutes left, and I do think, unless there's anything else you guys want to say about Foo Fighters, I do want to give a little bit of time. There was another stream last week, guys. The Bond 60th. Bond 60th was streamed, and I just wanted to just briefly mention that or talk about that. Unless there's anything, is there anything else Foo Fighters related that you guys wanted to talk about that we didn't gush over tonight? Craig's buying it. Hadi's
Why
probably
don't they take monthly payments.
Hadi's ready to buy his LE. He's going to show some self-control. He's got to make smart decisions.
Yeah.
Ba-ba-ba-ba.
They did such a good job with the reveal, and the launch of it was so much smoother, and kudos to them. Like song wise, set list looks great. I'm excited to see what comes of this, and the code Code looks fleshed out.
So that's what sucks. So Carrie's like, yeah, there's Bond fatigue, Bond 60th
Yeah.
snooze fest, Bond
Yeah.
60th. This is what I will say. I came away from Bond 60th. Bond 60th to me looked like a fun game to play with other people. It's a brutal game. It's a fast game. There's co-op built in. It's just let's try to conquer this whole thing together. And the takeaway I got from the stream was it looked like Jack and I think his name was Mark and Keith and George had a great time playing that game together in co-op, trying to get through the different modes that were built in that game. I think it's a very unique game. I think it is a very retro feel type game. There's some really interesting scoring stuff. I think it'll be very cool to see that game from a tournament standpoint if it happens. But it is clear, though, the salivating that everybody has from this reveal and this stream, it's unfortunate, but I just think the price point of Bond 60 has just dried all that up. I mean, people don't even entertain the thought,
Yeah.
Elwyn Bond at 8,000 sells like hotcakes. Like street level Bond, everybody would want to get in on a Elwyn party / co-op pin, which looks fantastic to flip, but it's just so cost prohibitive. It's crazy. Even with the lack of video assets on that little monitor in the play field, it still looks like a blast to just try and blow it up. But it's just way too expensive.
Yeah. There's a lot in that game that I noticed. Like, I mean, I think Keith was saying there's a mode where you have to collect like 60 gadgets or something like that in one of the modes, and you're collecting every movie in the game. You're collecting all these gadgets, and the co-op. You're right. The co-op would be a blast because I mean, there is so much in the game. Like
there's a ton of shots.
Just because there's no ramps. I mean, really, the only thing the game is missing is a ramp or two. Aside from that, I mean, it's got a shit ton of drop targets. It's got spinners all day. You can hit all 4 spinners in one shot, have them all going. That disc in the middle scares me a little bit, only because I could see draining off of it a lot. But I also agree with Hadi, and I hope that this is just a licensor thing. But there's really nothing on that LCD screen other than words for the most part, right? I mean, I hope they add animations, and I'm thinking they're going to, because even the Pro right now is struggling with not having animations on it yet as well. Yeah. So they're gonna come. I'm sure they're gonna come. I think the 60th is a great game at a better price point.
Yeah. Well, I will say yes. I think Foo Fighters, and that's what chat's saying right here. Like people were just ready for anything. They just were ready. Please just give me something. I mean, we've been talking about Bond for so long, and then there was like Bond was revealed, but there was no code to it. And then there's what's the 60th? What's the 60th? What's the 60th? And then the 60th is finally revealed, but then it took forever to stream, and it's just that's all we've talked about was Bond. And so now all of a sudden the whole pinball industry is just throwing a ton at us. And I've got to say, when Godzilla was released, my thought was like, good luck to whoever's going to follow up Godzilla. And I think Rush really surprised people. Then Bond was kind of okay, I don't know. And this right here though was Ray Day's here. Ray Day just got here. He goes, I forgot about this stream. Dude, Ray Day, we have been just bashing the heck out of whatever you call that code. I mean, what the heck, man?
Come on.
You got us excited. Mike already canceled his order. Hadi isn't even thinking about it. No. What we're saying, Ray Day, is this is a whole nother, this was absolutely such a rejuvenating release. And so many people, congrats, Raymond, congrats. This game looks a ton of fun. They did it right. I mean, when they released that little sheet of the weekly schedule, they did the trailer last Friday, and then I think it was either last Friday or early
this week on Monday, they released that little sheet that said, the trailer, LE sales, stream, this, that, everything. We know what's going on. We know what's happening. It was like they looked at Bond and said, we can't do that again. We got to make sure that we get it right.
We're in control now.
Yeah. We got to make sure we get it right. Even that 4-minute video that Seth produced, or he hosted or whatever, he's at the beginning. That was perfect. It showed all the features in the game that everyone wanted to see. I also think, despite why some people will complain that, oh, well, people didn't even get to see the stream before they had to buy LEs and whatnot, but they released that video like an hour before. So that got people so hyped up right away when they saw that, I have to commend them for, they knew exactly what they were doing. They struck when the hype was hottest. Everyone saw the video. Get your LE now. We're selling them on the site. It's hard. FOMO still exists. I will say that I think the FOMO is
Craig. You know anything about FOMO?
I think the FOMO.
I'm in recovery.
I think the FOMO is slowly starting to get a little bit less than it was like during the height of the pandemic, only because games are more available now. You can get games, that sort of thing. So the FOMO is still there, but I feel like it's almost at an acceptable level. So they struck while the irons were hot, for sure, I think.
Sure. Yeah, good point. Raymond, if you're still in chat, I don't know if you can answer this, but the question, obviously Pro Burst Premium, and the main thing is the upper playfield. So they said to start the Area 51 multi-ball, it's just 5 shots to the right ramp. So the question is, there are other targets up there, and I know with the diverter that goes up, it looks like that's a jackpot shot. So without that, how do you where is the jackpot shot? Or like, what if you're using that upper playfield to hit certain shots in that multi-ball, are those shots just down on the lower playfield somewhere, or where are those shots? So I don't know if you want to type that out, but, or if you could answer that would be great.
And a follow-up question to Raymond: if I wanted to change my order from Rush to Foo Fighters,
Like contact,
can he stop building my Rush and start building me my Foo Fighters?
Good question. I did ask Raymond. I did ask him. I said, Raymond, if you now at this point had the ability to see Foo Fighters or Rush live, which band would you pick? And he picked Rush because less yelling. That was his answer, which I thought was funny. Carrie, you don't get a jackpot shot. You want jackpot by a premium. That's just no jackpot for you. I'm just my only thing. I'm curious because it looks like there's a shot on the left kind of the building. Then it looked like there were 2 lock shots. There's a spinner up there, and then there's that particular diverter shot in that upper playfield. So I'm curious, whatever those shots are that are being used, those aren't there. They translated? So are those translated somewhere else? I don't know. And maybe that's a great question for tomorrow. That's a great question tomorrow during the stream. So we'll see. Maybe Raymond's typing a novel right now. We don't really know. Are the premium LE exclusive modes No, they made it sound like everything would be in there. But
for now, they could always change that. They could always add something to that upper playfield down the road to make it more exclusive, but
yeah.
The other thing I thought was interesting about this game, it's just a minor thing that I noticed during the stream, is that there is an adult mode on this. So there were some fairly, some heavy F-bombs that the band calls out, which I thought was awesome that Stern went there, considering at times they have held themselves out as a sort of quote unquote family entertainment company. Obviously you can turn that adult, which they stressed on the stream, that you can turn that adult mode on or off, but I just thought it was interesting that they went to that level with this, and they're obviously, I think that was the right move considering their target demo on this as well, that it is very adult centered, and targeted.
I have a question on that. Is the band making call outs?
I didn't hear any. We questioned the exact same thing. I wondered if the band was doing any call outs, and it didn't seem like it. Just like Iron Maiden doesn't have any band call outs. Yeah, I don't.
That's the one thing I would nitpick, is because Rush has some funny call outs, and it's really cool or even like a Weird Al, just having the actual artist making a ton of call outs is a really nice way to integrate the theme all together. So yeah,
That's a good
interesting.
point. Yeah. Because it is.
It
It's
sounds like
like
it's
a
more of a
roadie
like a
guy.
or a roadie
Oh,
or
you're
like
right.
a
Yeah,
radio or a radio broadcaster or
Yep.
something like that.
Good
or
point.
Whatever, yeah.
Well, I'm not seeing Raymond answer, so maybe he's being professional
He's just ignoring me.
and and making sure he's not speaking out of turn. But I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. And hey, luckily there's a stream tomorrow night, so we can all watch that and see how the pro is going to go. But yeah, any final thoughts, Chad? Anything else? We're approaching midnight here. Any other thoughts or anything else? Obviously GTF, hopefully we see some publicly released pictures sometime soon. I'll tell you right now, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy looking.
Yeah.
And I know Godfather, Godfather is the biggest question mark in my book. Like I just don't get it, but wait and see situation.
It's
I have an opinion on Godfather, and I think the theme is okay for pinball, but I don't think Godfather's a Jersey Jack theme.
And we may
They're too colorful. They're too slot machine. It's like colorful lights, everything. Godfather's dark. It's it just doesn't feel right for JJP to be.
I bet it will be a fantastic Godfather pin, but just that alone, I just can't wrap my head around it. And then on top of that, I will tell you, I've really actually been watching a lot of the Chicago gaming threads because I'm really enjoying this game. And an SE Plus, I mean, they are saying like months out. They're still doing these like months out. So if there's rumors that they're announcing their game next, like how are they gonna make it's an unlicensed theme apparently is the next thing.
One.
And the rumor is Pulp Fiction. So that's another one where it's just like, okay, I don't know. So this one, I think I think a lot of other people had written off like Foo Fighters. I'm not a huge Foo Fighters fan. I don't really need another band pin. But I will tell you, congrats to Jack and the team. I think it is a band pin, but it seems to be so much more than a band pin. The layout is so intriguing that I think we're all really excited to play it and flip it and see what happens.
Yeah.
So
damn it, Jack.
Yes.
I have to move another pinball machine out of my basement.
Yeah.
I
The
don't
secondary
want to
market is going to be on fire the next couple months.
Yeah,
Yeah,
congrats.
true. Yeah,
Congrats for making something that's tempting like that. But whether or not Godfather's going to, completely surprise us, I mean, that's how I felt about Godzilla. I was like, I don't care about Godzilla. And then you see it and you're like, whoa, maybe I do care about Godzilla. So maybe we are really going to care about GTF. Maybe we are really going to care about Godfather or Pulp Fiction. I don't know. We're in a what's the words, Craig? I know you're good with saying it. We are in a it's a wait and
we'll have to wait and see. Renaissance, exactly.
Yes.
Well, I do think too that Stern, from a marketing standpoint, they are the industry is still chasing them, and I think it was very smart that they came out strong out of the gate with this release, and they are locking down a certain amount of money. Now, the reality is, if people don't like it, they can get out of them easily, relatively, if they see something in the meantime. But I do think these companies are going to be chasing them because this is, I'm going to say, this is an above average release for them. There hasn't been a game since Godzilla, even, and I hate to say this, but even Rush, I was like, okay, it's a safe, it's a solid game. This game was kind of my reaction when I saw Godzilla, which was like, it immediately calls out, like it hits that fun button, like, oh man, this looks fun. Like this looks fun. I want to shoot these shots. Look at that bash toy. I want to make that thing roll, like look at that upper playfield. I want to hit that shot. I hadn't felt or seen that many of those shots since the Godzilla release, right? So
what a ridiculous feeling, though, right?
It's the high bar right now.
But I'm saying, like, we're all so in love with this hobby that, of course, we want every new game to be amazing. But then there's always there's that little part of you that gets mad. You're like, no, like I did not want to like this pin.
Why couldn't this game suck?
Yes,
exactly.
It's so easy to save money when the pins suck, but this is actually really good.
Really
I
good.
don't
Kept watching
They're
the
all
stream.
they're all dopamine feeders, right? Like Godzilla is just like a dopamine machine.
Yeah.
Every shot you hit, it's just, and this is what Foo Fighters is probably going to feel like too.
I know.
Mhm.
Well, that's what. So, Trash Can Ninja. Any innovation, I would just say the layout. The layout looks extremely unique. But I don't know. I mean, a bash toy with a fork. I don't know if we've seen that. The dead post. Dead post for sure is a unique item.
The overall geometry too, I think, is very
Yeah.
unique too. Like there's,
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, let's go ahead and wrap it up. We'll do the same order as before. So, Mike, plug away, man.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to getting my hands on some Foo Fighters, hopefully in the next month or so. I don't know. Hopefully, when we do, we'll stream it and share it with everybody. You can catch all that and more on Pinballers on Twitch. So twitch.tv/pinballers. This Saturday, actually, we're going to be going to Montreal, and we are streaming and playing in the North Star Winter Classic. So we will be doing that on Saturday at noon Eastern. So if you guys aren't doing anything Saturday and want to check out some tournament action from Montreal, check us out on Twitch.
Nice. Thank you, Mike. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah, Hadi, go for it.
I'm Frisco Pinball, Hadi. You can check me out on Twitch at Frisco Pinball. All socials are the same: Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. You'll see me playing a lot of Godzilla. Thank you to the wonderful Carl at IE Pinball for putting on Pin Clash. We're trying to get a high score, and probably be doing that for the foreseeable future. I also stream retro and virtual pinball, but for now, the pins behind me need some love, more specifically Godzilla.
Yes. Go for it, Craig.
Craig Bobby doing the Top Stories news segment on the Pinball Show podcast with Zach Meny and Dennis Kriesel, which airs on the Pinball Network podcatcher every Monday. So come check us out for lots of good stuff about the pinball industry and what's going on, market trends, production news, you name it.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you for being here. And thank you, chat. Thank you for a very lively chat. Thank you for being here live. If you happen to be watching this YouTube afterwards, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. But yeah, definitely try to join in on chat or just join in the conversation down below the video. But yes, these are a lot of fun. We'll be doing another one of these Flipping Out with Friends in 2 weeks. Looking forward to that. Next week, I think I just talked to Zach. We are planning. I mean, I have been streaming Cactus Canyon, been really enjoying that. There's a real good possibility that between now and next Friday, there will be a swap of a game. We haven't really nailed down what, but right now things are pointing towards Scooby-Doo. So if that, so if that actually happens, I'm looking forward to that. It'll be a new pin. It'll be exciting. To be honest, nobody's really streamed that. There's been a few people that there was a tournament streamed, and then obviously Spooky streamed it, but I'm excited. I'm excited to hopefully that'll work out. And speaking of streamers, this is what's on Twitch right now. If I was going to go somewhere, I like this guy, Vinny Blanc. He's got one viewer. He's doing some Pin Clash stuff. Go ahead, say hi. Go check him out. But there's a lot of Pin Clash going on here. But there's all these streamers are actually pretty good. So go check out any of them. And yeah, everybody have a great night. Thank you so much again to chat and everybody that was active in it. And we will have to talk again real soon. So, all right. Appreciate
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Joel. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Later.